Why don't we go ahead and get started? Good morning and good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today. I'm Felicity Dudley and I'm Senior Marketing Manager of Forward PMX. In case you don't know us, Forward PMX are a global brand performance agency who help brands find the change that fuel growth. Today we're also joined by Baidu, China's largest search engine, who have over 70% of the market share in the region. But before we start, it does go without saying that 2020 has been an unprecedented year from a health, economic and social perspective. First and foremost, we hope your families, friends and colleagues are doing well. So today we're going to be talking about how international brands should navigate the China digital ecosystem. With the global health crisis starting to stabilise in China, brands of the world's largest economy are only just beginning to understand the impact of COVID-19. But what lessons can all of us learn from China? And how can brands adapt to this new normal? To help us dig into this and share exclusive insights, we have two senior marketing and sales consultants from Baidu, Calvin Su and William Gao, and Forward PMX's regional VP, Yan Fraud. So with that, just a few housekeeping things. We will record the session and send it out later on today. And we'll have about 30 minutes of content and then we'll reopen for question and answers to address any specific questions you might have. If you do have a question, please use the questions feature in the toolbar and we will answer it at the end of the session, or we'll follow up with you after the event. So let's get started. So to give you a little more background on who we have with us today, we have Calvin Su, the General Manager of Channel Sales, KA Department at Baidu, who we've been working really closely with as a partner. And he has a really rich experience in the digital industry with over 13 years under his belt. And we have William Gao, Senior Marketing Strategy Manager at Baidu, who has 10 years experience in the digital industry and specialises in luxury, FMCG, fashion, retail and automotive industries. And finally, we also have Yan Fraud, who's been working with FP for over 10 years and who really helps businesses expand into China and get them a greater understanding in the digital ecosystem and offers comparisons from the west to the east.
So this is Yan speaking. Welcome everybody. So we got agenda today around 4 areas, starting from the consumer behavior changes during COVID-19 and also the industry recovering, what it's like currently. And then we also will outline the challenges and strategies for international brands. In the end, we will summarize it and to show the plan for the future. Now I'm going to pass to Calvin from Baidu to have an opening and introduce the session very quickly as well.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Calvin. I'm very honored to have this opportunity to share opinions with all of you from Europe through this webinar. The outbreak of the epidemic this year has brought many challenges to the world. Also, the side effects of the epidemic are becoming obvious. For example, the growth rate of most companies has decreased or even declined sharply after March this year. Market uncertainty has increased and the business development became unpredictable for most companies. Some industries, such as travel, even had 0 or negative growth rates. However, we believe that challenges and opportunities coexist for the advertising industry. Through public data collection, we found that direct response ads have become the main growth driver, especially applicable for overseas advertisers. Baidu is one of the largest media platforms for Chinese netizens to obtain information. During the epidemic, more than 1 billion people searched and browsed the relevant news of the outbreak through Baidu every day. Meanwhile, Baidu has provided tens of millions of online health consulting services, has become the major entrance for Chinese online health consulting, and has undertaken huge corporate social responsibility. Baidu is not just the well-known world's largest Chinese search engine. Its mobile ecosystem has also achieved unexpected growth since strategic upgrades announcement in May last year. During March this year, Baidu still maintains strong traffic vitality. From our financial report data released on the 19th of May, daily active users for Baidu app reached 222 million with 28% annual growth rate. The in-app search volume increased by 55% year-on-year. The duration of feed users increased by 51% year-on-year, and the numbers of content creators on Baidu Baijiahao exceeded 3 million, up by 44% year-on-year. The number of monthly active users of Baidu mini programs reached 354 million with 96% growth rate year-on-year. By leveraging big data, Baidu can provide accurate users insights, a better user experience, and an improvement of advertising value. In mobile era, Baidu search not only allows users to quickly get what they need with its precise understanding about users, but also creates a broader ecosystem through transformation of technology. It offers users a satisfying journey from search to content and services. The sudden outbreak during the beginning of this year has generated more in-home demands for consumers, which has further changed the consumption journey. Despite the shock brought to different industries, the epidemic also accelerates the digitalization process. Now, the most important subject of overseas corporations is how to expand new channels in China, probably to embrace the internet and the transformation during the post-pandemic era. Baidu, as a warm and responsible tech company, will continue to use its technology and capability to bring more high-quality traffic and market opportunities for foreign companies and grow all together in the future. Next, let's welcome another two speakers, Baidu's Senior Marketing Strategy Manager, William, and Forward PMX Regional VP, Yan, to share more with you about how should international brands navigate the changing China digital ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelvin, and please for your introduction earlier. So let's look into the details starting from consumer behavior changes during the special period. COVID-19 started in China from January this year. After nearly 5 months, we witnessed many consumer behavior changes from small to big. So first of all, during the lockdown period, people are forced to stay at home, just like everywhere else in the world now. Therefore, everyone certainly had huge amount of time spending indoor with children or doing housework. Therefore, people have a great increased demand on housekeeping, parenting, and cuisine products. So during these crazy years, everyone pay attention on news more than ever. And that is majority to digital news channel. The traditional newspapers or magazines are actually experiencing difficult time. And then regarding to the financial investments, interesting thing here is that saving is only a small part of it in China due to the seven wallet culture. The majority of the increase is from stock or fund investment because a lot of people are actually concerned about the upcoming inflation. And then looking at more details, grocery and health products had the highest attention by individual consumers, but less people would purchase fashion products or adopt pets. We also see that large electrical appliances had a drop on demand, mainly due to the limitation on delivery. While there are there are much less travel and social events offline, we see a sharp increase on digital time spent, including social media or gaming. So online active users increased further, over 6% year-on-year, mainly due to the COVID-19. The key demographic of that increase were from female, over 30s, and from tier 3 and tier 4 cities due to their relatively low online penetration. And this change is very likely to remain. The brands need to be aware of this. And after the peak of COVID-19, offline consumption is recovering. So as you can see from the left-hand side, the yellow background chart, as the end of the chart, the 10th of May, the commercial activities has actually recovered of 84% comparing to the period before COVID-19 in the end of 2019 or beginning of the 2020. But you do see a peak in the end of the January. That was because of the Chinese New Year. So categories of unnecessary spending, such as fashion stores and department stores, were seriously hit during COVID-19 and would recover slowly. However, there are some extreme cases showing the sign of revenge spending. So let me show you some examples here. First of all, Hermes nearly opened the store, sold 2.7 million in just one day in Guangzhou in April. I guess lots of you guys possibly read news as well about this. And during Chanel summer sales in Beijing store, there was a long queue outside the store that people started to queue up before the opening hours. And Tiffany hired a Chinese celebrity to celebrate the I Love You Day, 20th of May in China. So 90% year-on-year sales increase. Again, these are extreme cases, and what we say is that you cannot apply to all other retailers and brands. And then you may notice this behavior was encouraged due to the limited stock on hungry marketing or price cut promotions. So this is, for my opinion, is not going to last long, and it is certainly not revenge spending. So not only consumer behavior, we also see major changes on digital media platforms. And before going into the changes, let me outline the top view digital landscape in China for you. Same to the West, there are many popular platforms that people use for different purposes. So typically categorize them by video platforms, content or social platforms, search engines, e-commerce giants, travel OTAs, and review platforms. The complex situation here is that you may not be familiar with most of or any of these logos. There isn't any global giant used widely in China. The user purpose on those platforms may be very similar to the West, but their detailed functionalities can be very different. Interface or menu are specially designed for Chinese users, which caused the confusion to international advertisers. So the first change of media that I'm showing here is that all the digital platforms, pretty much most of them, are trying very hard to add the functionalities that they don't used to have. For example, social and information platforms start to sell products and turning into e-commerce by either adding e-commerce functionality or provide easy access or redirect consumers to purchase page elsewhere. So driving direct sales become more important than ever. as all businesses are counting on digital channels while offline was pretty much dead. So functional sites, e-commerce or OTAs are also leaning toward to social or video platforms. Therefore, they can maximize the engagement with their users by launching videos or live streaming activities, for example. So a few examples here. Ctrip, a OTA who should have been impacted by this crisis, jumped on this live streaming to sell hotels with a huge success. Taobao saw a huge user spike in their live streaming sessions, and many international brands took part of it. For example, East Long had its live streaming event. Dio launched its WeChat mini program to ease the process journey to its WeChat users. So the second trend here is that we're seeing a huge increase in search users and news during the outbreak, as Calvin mentioned earlier. We are seeing an increase of 55 million users in March compared to June last year, and that is around 10% year-on-year increase. And similar to its new users with a 45 million increase on the news channels. So during the demand, the search giant Baidu adapted the needs and launched several different products for users to monitor COVID-19 information. For example, a whole section about COVID-19 news listed the most searched terms and results, flight attendance tracker, medical inquiry session, as well as traffic map. And to make search experience easier, Baidu and brands also invested and managed to optimize the Baidu No Question channel, as well as Baidu Wikipedia, so consumers can get the best support as much as possible digitally, as they can't physically touch or try on products before any purchases. And video platforms has been growing rapidly during the past few years, and especially seeing a huge increase during the outbreak period. So this is the third change that we noticed. Worth to mention here today is that short video platforms such as TikTok, Haokan, and Kuaishou are seeing 3 times higher spend year-on-year, as well as 20% market penetration increase. So not only the usage increased, more and more e-commerce events are getting involved and successfully made good conversions through live streaming videos. So live streaming has been so powerful that many brands started to test out, as I mentioned earlier, and we all believe that it will bring huge value to quick wins and long-term branding exercise. So first, it can bring a large amount of leads or sales based on many case studies we have. By cooperating with influencers, brands can successfully convince your consumers to either purchase or considering their products. And it's like to repeat the old-fashioned the TV shopping that I'm sure you guys all know, but the internet. Also, video platforms can help to keep an ongoing relationship with audience to retarget. Last but not the least, social media is a much more powerful channel to engage with audiences, and the live streaming plays a huge role here. So some successful examples here that brands have been using live streaming very well. Prada, Louis Vuitton, and many other brands started to test live streaming campaigns, either selling their products via video events or streaming their fashion show digitally, while offline events were all cancelled. And we also see retail brands cooperating with other industries through live streaming. For example, Burberry with TV show, Net-a-Porter with the gaming industry, Behaviour, a Chinese brand, electric brand, worked with the fitness app Keep to packaging up together and touch base crossover audiences with much more interesting and fun content. So from above examples and the changes from digital media, we can see how important it is to adapting the changes and to be more considering and creative on ad messages. So during COVID-19, when people are very sensitive and emotional, I guess you are all experiencing what I'm experiencing, either the health issue that we are concerned about, or lockdown insights, the mental breakdown, or exhausted because of the overtime spending with your children. So consumers may have very strong opinion on advertisers' messages and the creatives. Therefore, we have 4 key takeaways here. So first of all, brands need to be careful and try to show the love and the care to their consumers and the society. And the brands need to be positive and convince consumers to keep going no matter how hard the situation was. Moreover, brands need to adapt to the new normal and accept the changes. Also help consumers to accept the changes. So for example, more digital services needed and will be created to enhance user experiences. Then new technology and innovation will support all of the demands. Finally, international brands especially need to understand the local cultural occasions and events and be prepared to get involved as much as possible to become a true localized business. So let me show you good examples here. As you can see, these 3 brands all saying very lovely words to consumers. For example, support buyer stores to survive from Farfetch. With love, we can be stronger together from Lancourt Ford. Hope from the heart from Hilton. And these messages were bringing on the emotion and drag attention for the right moment. Or we have Ctrip and Marriott, both inspiring consumers to look forward. Again, Cunar and Chanel launched their vertical tour or vertical fashion show when offline is inaccessible. And during the outbreak, many brands didn't forget to get involved during all seasonal events to win the rebound, such as I Love You Day, 618 Shopping Festival, which is very Chinese local events. So the next session, William from Baidu will help to show some more trends on industry recovery and later on to outline the top challenges and solutions business are facing. Pass to you, William.
China is the first one to recover, several countries.
Sorry, William, is very, we can't hear you very clearly. It sounds very far away.
Hello. Is it now okay?
It's perfect now.
Hello. Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, let's start. Let's see several facts that are happening in China right now. China is the first one to recover and showing several positive figures and signals after COVID-19. Over 90% of business, hotels, shopping malls have reopened. 71% of students have gone back to school. Restaurant sales have recovered to 70% of previous level. Even the National People's Congress have successfully run in May. Lots of positive signals in China right now. Next, let's see 3 industries which are probably most related to our business. Firstly, the travel industry. COVID-19 has the most negative impact on travel industry. From these 2 charts, we can see that both the flight frequency and hotel occupancy had a big drop from January to March and slowly recover during April to May. In terms of travel spending year-on-year comparison, recovery rate of April Tom Sweeping Day reached 45%. It gradually increased to 96% in May, Labor Day of what we had in 2019. The confidence of domestic travel rise smoothly and kept growing up in June. The trends can also be reflected on Baidu based on the search volume of various categories. The blue line refers to last year, while the black line refers to this year. The search volume of hotels, scenic spots dropped down from Chinese New Year and have recovered step by step. And the airline search trends shows a much slow increase. Then next page. Secondly, in the luxury retail division, due to the overseas traveling mostly paused, the luxury industry globally would also be influenced a lot, as 1/3 of global luxury goods were purchased by Chinese consumers. After COVID-19, Chinese luxury shoppers would turn to domestic markets. Therefore, it is expected that China would recover faster in luxury market domestically. Most shopping malls have opened from April, and the government launched different policies to encourage personal purchase. Night markets are allowed in order to stimulate consumptions. Many luxury brand CEOs from LVMH, Kering, and Hermes also show their confidence from the sales volumes in China market. From Baidu's luxury search trend, the overall search volume showed an obvious uplift from May Labor holiday, among which the search volume of Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Dior have recovered to the level of January after the downturn of 3 months.
William, we lost you. Apologize, everybody. William just the internet's dropped over there. He's trying to get on.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you again.
Okay, let's go on. Then this slide I will repeat. Okay, in China, e-commerce has been an essential part of daily life. The epidemic has strengthened the online shopping behavior. The search volume related to online retail boosted. Meanwhile, there was a slump of the daily necessity during February. It may be caused by the shortage of distribution personnel, as people were advised to stay at home and reduce outdoor activities from the government call. Now, let's look at the challenges and strategies for overseas brands. We often receive different questions from overseas brands, and these questions could be summarized as these followings. How to precisely reach the target audience? How to engage with the audience throughout the user journey? How to move out the comfort zone from opportunities? Baidu could help to offer solutions by leveraging the technology. Regarding the challenge of finding the target audience, search is obviously a direct way to meet real-time needs. However, we might not make the decision at that moment, but we learn their intention. As Chinese consumers have the habit of browsing around, whenever they spend time on Baidu's ecosystem, feed ads could be used to remind them on their previous intention. Sometimes, consumers will be inspired by the content and make an impulsive purchase. This is a loop where search and feeds are both the needs and inspiration driver. How does Baidu fulfill this search feeds loop? We have omni-marketing platform, which have various audience segmentation. Any targeted audience could be leveraged to reach them. Here are the 4W1H models. Who? The general demographic features such as gender, age, occupation, marriage, etc. What? Based on previous needs or intentions, we can learn this previous behavior from search history, visit the pages, watch the videos, etc. Where? Mostly focus on offline location information like CPD, POI. Regarding the timing, we can track online actions prior to 90 days, and lastly, fully utilize various formats such as video or interaction. Baidu Omni-Marketing is a one-stop audience selection platform. It is user-friendly and conveniently to generate the audience package based on the dimensions mentioned earlier. The size of the audience group will be automatically calculated and output. Next step is to find a suitable format to reach those target audience. Here are the native ads and the app opening page ads. Yes, this page. Here are the native ads and app opening page ads cases from luxury brands. For example, Dior used the audience pack whose searched Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and Hermes related keywords in the last 30 days. As exposure frequency for each audience could be also controlled to avoid overexposure. Meanwhile, the various ads could help to track and engaging with audience. Besides ads format, Baidu has developed various products to feature enhance user experience. If consumer needs are inspired, they will mostly search the brand or the product keywords. At this time, Brand Zone is the best choice as it's just like an online boutique. Each picture or video will show the brand identity. Last year, Baidu has launched a product which called Smart Program, a mini program within Baidu. It mainly solves the problem that global website servers always take a long time for loading. The Smart Program can play as a mini site combining the content, purchase, product display features all together. A good point is that all the data are owned by advertisers. Above are the various examples that we could offer to advertisers to highlight its rich content information, a fantastic way for brands to highlight its selling points with fancy pictures, even the KOL notes. Content is more and more important in today's digital marketing. So the new change will not only deliver more information, but also occupy the first search results page for brand protection. A special example would be the Brand Zone Max that users would scroll down 3 pages in mobile phone. Regarding the third challenges of looking for new opportunities, we could take advantage of Baidu's solutions. During the epidemic period, people have more time staying at home. They are used to waking up intelligent devices to do more entertainment or learning. Xiaodu at home, smart home device, similar to Alexa, has been the #1 smart speaker with screen in the world. People like to wake up Xiaodu to watch video, do fitness, play music, introduce a recipe for cooking, etc. Meanwhile, more and more home scene touchpoints are created. Hence, advertisers can communicate with their target audience at a proper scene. Here is a case of Avinay's cooperation with Xiaodu. Avinay is a famous skincare brand focused on sensitive skin protection. People have to wear masks for a long time during epidemic, which cause a lot of skin problems, and they are eager to get professional advices. Avinay took full use of Baidu's technology and Xiaodu's home scene, offered an interactive, tailored function. Consumers can follow Xiaodu's guidance to describe their skin status. Then Xiaodu will give the test result and advice. Also, skin protection suggestions and skincare courses are offered. With the recovery, okay, next page. Okay, with the recovery of epidemic, people turn back to normal life and regular work. Baidu Omni-Marketing could use the LBS capability to help advertisers to reach the target audience offline, such as elevator screens at neighborhood or office building. All of the above, Baidu Marketing can help brands create different touchpoints, realize precisely targeting, and offering premium ad formats. Thank you. This is my part.
Thank you, William, very much. So what is the future and how we can plan ahead? So this is kind of a summary to showing the journey. The whole world is pretty much in the recovery phase right now. And we actually thought it's over in China, but turns out Beijing had new cases a couple of days ago and lockdown or sensitivity started again. So people and businesses have found ways to adapt to lockdown conditions. Bricks and mortar stores began to reopen slowly or going around the circus, depends on the situation changes. And it's very important for all businesses to plan for the recovery and rebuilding their marketing fundamentals with deeper insights, tools, and measurements. So how do we do it? Brands need to understand the baseline and look for green shoots, evaluate how consumers are engaging with brands, maximize opportunities where there is a demand for specific products and services to optimize media strategy toward social and mobile formats. Again, it's very important to ensure the success during the recovery phase. And if a brand failed to act quick enough, they will easily lose their market share because all of their competitors will be very aggressive. And the new normal may last very long, and it's definitely worth making changes, adapting from this new environment and the new behavior. Purchase of goods and services are returning to pre-lockdown levels. Expects changes in how business operates and customer consume. So when businesses are reframing their business models and digital marketing practice to grow within the new normal, it's very important to address any concerns for safety and offer improved flexibility to consumers. So promotions and value added will be front of mind for consumers who may have been impacted financially as a result of the crisis. Therefore, the right messages with the right functionality would mean so much to consumers. Mobile-first media strategy and new media testing, such as live streaming or live e-commerce, will also be playing a huge role to your success. So finally, businesses will transition from mere survival day to day to flourish with the arrival of the new normal, and the business will all expecting to capitalize the increased demand. And businesses will need to review their media strategy and pivot their approach once again, and this includes data strategy, as digital CRM is much more valuable than ever, and all brands need to be prepared for any future crisis. Not only that, boosting brand visibility and markets or audiences expansions will help businesses to grow, meaning that staying in the comfort zone is actually pretty dangerous, especially when everyone is facing huge changes and uncertainties in the coming future. So thank you very much. Pass to you.
Great. Thank
Please.
you so much, Calvin, William and Yan Yan. Thank you for that. That's really insightful. We do actually have time for a few questions, and we've got some questions in, so I'll just jump straight into the first one. So with the many different platforms that are available in China, where would you say is a good place to start for a new brand that's looking to expand into the region?
Thank you so much. So with 1.1 billion monthly active users, most brands would possibly consider WeChat as a must-to-have profile or platforms to start in China. However, there isn't a one correct answer to this, and we always suggest the business to list out their targeting audiences, objectives on the results you want to achieve, and the product to promote, as well as available landing pages, which is very, very important in China, because not all landing pages that you use in the West will work in China. And then it will be easy to understand which platforms are the most suitable for you to start with. So for example, if a site has a very slow speed in China to load, therefore considering to build a mini program either on WeChat or on Baidu would help to smooth the purchase journey. And in general cases, if a brand has a decent amount of brand awareness already today, then covering up the bottom funnel on search to protect the brand is definitely a quick win action to take.
That's fantastic, thank you. And then the second question we got in was, so you mentioned live streaming success stories a few times, but what do you think about the ROI from live streaming? Is it really worthwhile, or is it more of a popular trend, but something that brands don't necessarily make a profit from? So this is sort of asked broadly, but also someone asked specifically from the gaming industry as well.
Thank you. So ROI profitability and benchmarks really depends on the industry and products. I'm gonna go to gaming in a minute, but starting from cosmetic as example, there was several successful cases by hiring famous influencers to live stream and actually achieved over 1 million CNY, which is around 100,000 GBP or 125,000 US dollar within just a few hours. And the video engagement rate is possibly about 4%, and cost per impressions possibly about 20 RMB, which is £2 or $2.5. if to calculate the ROI, I see many cases are actually positive. However, we do have bad examples. There were few luxury brands try to sell ready-to-wear products, the live streaming, but responses from consumers was very negative. So the key mistake was that they made was first of all wrong influencers. So they've been using digital influencers, and we're thinking maybe using the fashion show model would generate a much better view, because they're wearing ready to wear that sort of clothes, and then they also worked at a wrong scenes with a poor design. So instead of live streaming in a closed room, which they used, the results would be much better if they streaming that the campaigns in their flagship store, because that's the environments consumers get used to. So that is actually the bad examples that we're seeing. So again, for luxury retail, we believe that if the product is very expensive, it's quite hard to actually drive performance, because the live streaming videos is very much to drive impulse purchases. So cheaper price would actually helping consumers to make these decisions easier. Now back into gaming industry, live streaming is a must-have campaign for the gaming industry because people want to know what the game's about, the experiences. So yes, this is something you have to have. Especially live streaming is extremely popular in China, and the huge amount of the right targeting consumers actually on the live streaming web platforms for you to target. So to answer that question is yes, you definitely need to cover that activity.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. And then that leads into our next question as well. So there has been a huge spike for the gaming industry, but what do you think of the future for gaming after this pandemic is over?
That's a great question. It's hard to predict, but from the insights we see, as mentioned earlier as well, several markets or locations may have this crisis as a circle coming back and then disappear, coming back and disappear. Or also there's a new normal nowadays that the people conscious about going out more often than ever. So gaming has been a key time killers for most of the consumers. So it will stay high in terms of the usage, but you would experience a drop because people are dying to go back to society, go back to outside. So you will see a drop, but it's still, I would say, during this outbreak, gaming is definitely the winner, and for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Yan. And we did have a couple of questions just in terms of, are we going to be sharing the recording of this session? And yes, we will. We'll be sharing that later on today. I think that's all we have time for now. So this was wonderful. Thank you so much for everyone for sending so many questions in. If we didn't answer yours, we will make sure we get them answered. And thank you so much for joining us. Please stay safe. And if you have any more questions and comments, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Yan's contact details are on the screen now. Thank you.
Yes, that is the WeChat QR. I guess a lot of you guys possibly know about it. Just scan it and you can contact me personally as well for any questions you want to ask.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.